like just as creators, right? Like, first off, welcome to the show, you guys. This is the Smoky Section podcast. Yes, I'm the host, Big Corpse, and I'm here with Geno Ray. Yes, all the way from Oregon, Beaverton to be exact. Yeah, he is a Indigenous actor, musician, and podcaster, host. Yes, of Native as I Can Be, which we were talking about a little bit right now, which I hope we can talk about again. But Brother Geno, thank you so much. Is there anything that you want to make sure you introduce to the people first before we get rolling, or you dive right in?
Yeah, I mean, if people want to check it out, Native as I Can Be, it is available on all streaming services. The original concept behind the podcast was I am mixed. My mom is white, my dad is Native. I mostly grew up with my mom and my white sisters who have different dads, and the original idea was just feeling like I was existing between two cultures because I grew up in a very, very small white town, Reedsport, Oregon, and nothing against Reedsport, but it is very white, logging, conservative, and didn't really fit in all that well there. And then as a kid, I would spend time with my dad and go to powwows and, kind of didn't really feel like I fit in all that well there either. And
Mm-hmm.
nothing that anybody at the powwows was doing or saying or anything like that. I just was like, I felt it was almost a bit of imposter syndrome. And
Ooh.
so I said, I kind of look right, but I don't really feel right. And just kind of
Mm-hmm.
felt like I was going through the motions, especially as a kid, and not having the awareness of and not having the ability to sort all that stuff out. So the podcast was going to be my own journey to sort out what all that stuff meant. And I had a bunch of different themes in mind, and that's basically what it was about. And I did about 13 episodes, and I looked at interracial dating, and
Mm-hmm.
I found that adoptees really feel that experience as well. Living with, they have their birth parents and they have their adoptive parents, and their adoptive parents love them as much as anybody, but there's a disconnect, and they feel that very much. And there's a lot of different subjects, and it's an experience a lot of people can relate to, from a lot of
Man.
walks of life.
And just the idea of the living imposter syndrome. Like I feel in especially today's climate and cultures, there's so much of people who like, just like us as content creators, right? And we were even talking about like, do people want to listen to certain stories or hear from certain people? And those may be the people we want to talk to, right? But there's this weird thing in the back of our head. We're like, oh, people's not going to listen, da, 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 da. And then we kind of get trapped in this weird, almost like moniker of ourselves or like caricature of ourselves where we're not just talking to the people we want to, we're not exploring the questions that we want to. And I would have never have thought though that would have even extended to like kids in the child services, like because I used to work in a group home, dude, years back, and I would have never have thought that would have like they felt out of themselves, like I like
Right.
this is mom and dad, they love me, and they could be the best that they could be, but I still feel like disconnected a little bit. I would have never have thought
Right.
that, man.
Yeah. And my partner is adopted, and she also placed her firstborn for adoption. My mom placed her firstborn for adoption. My dad and uncle grew up in foster care. So it was also realizing how much of that I actually had around me without even realizing it, and
Wow.
how much of that just disconnect people feel, growing up that way, and really how much that um, really is a form of grief, which I
Mm-hmm.
had never really thought of before, especially on my mom's side. When, I mean, you are, um, you're voluntarily relinquishing a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and that is grief. That's for real grief. And especially when you reconnect with that kid and you have to face that kid, and the kid's gonna eventually go, well, why did
Mhm.
you, why did you do that?
Yeah.
What was wrong with me?
Yeah.
And
And those are, I think, are those are like the tough questions,
right.
but those I think are also, if people can get through them, you just unlock so much, like, and not only like between you and this person who you're having this dialogue with, but just with yourself. Like, you finally said the words out loud to the people
Right.
who need to hear it.
Yeah. It's heavy stuff. It was
It
fun.
it is, dude. And God bless you and the family, man. Like, and you were saying, even for yourself, you got a family now too. And I know, so even me, I have kids too. So even like talking about that, it like pulls at my heart. It's like, bro, I know people get into situations, right? And they have to take certain paths or make certain choices, whatever. But like, oh my God, my son, like, or my daughter, like, ooh, oh my gosh, that would be, if I had to, I know I would have to have been in such a position, and it's just like, oh my gosh.
Right.
Um, and one of the episodes I did listen to, and you were kind of opening up, about how you are half, and you've lived in one place, and this, about, it was about all, a part of the topic was also brought about federally recognized, right, tribes. And I definitely wanted to talk to you about it. Is your tribe federally recognized?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's a whole history there where at one point we were not. And the government at one point, I'm from the Klamath tribe. I don't think I mentioned that before, which is of Southern Oregon. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it was 76. The government decided that they didn't want to recognize us as a tribe anymore. I think with the end goal being that if we don't recognize you as a tribe anymore, then we don't have to honor any agreements that we had
Mm-hmm.
previously, which is a nice workaround. You don't exist anymore, so we don't have to honor you anymore.
Exactly.
And we went through a whole lot of tough legal battles and stuff to get our recognition back as a to be federally recognized as a tribe. But yeah, we are now. Yeah.
Like, and it's a weird conflict I even see with a lot of American Indians, right? Like, even in our own communities, where you have people who are like, well, you're a state recognized and you're
Right.
federally recognized, or you're unrecognized. And it becomes this weird, like, bro, I'm just trying to powwow, dog. Like, I got my
Right.
roach right there hanging in the back, bro. I'm trying to powwow, dog. Like, I really don't
Right.
care about that, but it makes me feel like outside of myself. Like, and I felt like that was cool how you described that, because I felt I could put words on that feeling. Because even like, and I think too in your guys' conversation, uh, I don't think people understand like how we go through this issue, even of were you raised on the res
Right.
versus not a res Indian,
Yep.
federal versus state. And there's like, I think it's an interesting conversation, especially for like us, right? For people to hear, where it's like, I know you've heard it a million times, like, oh, you just get money from the government, or oh, you guys get all this stuff. And it's like, whoa, dog, in the 70s, they said that we didn't exist. So imagine
Right.
someone walking in your house and saying, hey, you guys don't exist. Like, what,
Right.
like, you guys are made up. Like, it's really crazy. And has there been anything that you've noticed, like in your own life, like where you were like going down to the tribal council like meetings? Because we even spoke to about some of the other elders that you got in the family. Like, were you there at the tribal council meetings, listening in, or casting the votes?
I have not done any of that, but yeah, my cousin was on tribal council, and I think my uncle was too, way back in the day. And but we do get the minutes. Tribal council is something I don't quite understand, to be quite honest with you. I don't even know if I am qualified to get into how they decide what motions they're moving forward on. And I mean, we get ballots and things that we're sort of voting on every year, but I don't really know how they arrive at those decisions on what we are moving forward on.
Mm-hmm.
And there is sort of a kind of an inside joke in the tribe that they're sort of like the Indian mafia. And like there is, this kind of like these closed door sort of, I don't know. So I don't know. And I even you asking me that question, I was like, I don't know if I should talk about that. Not like I'm gonna get whacked or something. I just don't. I'm not qualified to say one way or the other what they
Mhm.
say, and I would just be making shit up. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and even for myself, like my dad was on tribal council down at La Jolla, and dude, I never knew what was going on down there. I just knew whatever he was doing was in my favor, like because it's pops, So,
mm-hmm.
But my there is a lot of people, like especially home in North Carolina, the city is like it's so weird what they have for the Lumbees, man, where at one point at one level they are state recognized, and then there was like the Lumbee Fairness Act that granted them a level of federal recognition without the federal benefits, which is a whole thing I think is just a bunch of like legal jargon that I don't care for. But that I feel like is some of the stuff that I try to pay a little more attention to, right? Like I don't want to be in the tribal council meetings, but when there's a tribe fighting for recognition or they're trying to have their recognition fucking taken from them, I'm like, whoa, guys, what are we talking about? Because some of these tribes have been recognized for since they started recognizing them, like since
Right.
the out the gate, and I think it sucks though, like that our community, we're such a small portion of this great nation, and those are the type of fights that we're having. Like, dude, we're just trying to be recognized as people, like that we belong here, or like our ancestors are from here, like, like truly. Um, but I was even thinking too, like, well, I had called a buddy and I was letting him know about the podcast. I was like, dude, this guy's coming on. He's Native American. I was getting super, super juiced up. And you're acting, right? Like even talking about like how we're such a small portion. Like, bro, I don't think I've ever truly met another Native American actor, bro. How did you get into that? What led you to that?
I mean, in high school, I did plays and stuff, and I don't really know. And it's interesting, even podcasting. There's something in me that needs to be said, even if I haven't quite drilled down on what it is. There's always been something creative in me. I know that, but there's something in me that needs to be out, and I'm still trying to drill down on what that is. And so I've tried lots of different things, and acting was one of them. And so I had moved to LA and kind of made those rounds, and I did some different stuff, and a lot of it's acting is being a guy that's walking back and forth while the big people are doing their thing, but
Mm-hmm.
it's getting paid. And
Oh, hell yeah.
The Andrew Jackson one was really cool because it was for the History Channel, and I was one of the featured actors, and there was so many Indigenous people there. They like hired nothing but Indigenous people, and
That's so cool.
it was like being at a powwow, because like in between takes, like everybody was just cutting up and having fun, and like just like dunking on each other and dunking on the other actors, and like that was one of my favorite times. And it was like 3 days long, and made a grip of money on it, and that was fun. And ever since then, it's just sort of like whatever I can dip my toes into. I mean, in Portland is the scene is growing. People are, Hollywood is coming around. Like they filmed the Librarians here. They filmed Portlandia here. They're filming a movie or a series, I think, called Criminal here. They're people are coming around, and so I've auditioned for, I think, 4 different things just in the last couple months that they're filming here. But it's just, and I always get the auditions for lead goon, thug, because you can't see it here, but I'm covered in tattoos and I'm tall, and which is fine. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how I got into it, but it's just something I thought. And maybe it goes back to me being, my imposter syndrome. Like, well, I'm faking it anyways. Maybe I can make some money at it. Who knows? But and it was the same with being a musician, or there's something happening here that needs to be expressed, and I'm trying to nail down what that is.
That's insane, because that's so insane, because I was just talking with someone, man, where he's like, I know I have something going on, right? And I have a firm belief that we all have some kind of creative itch inside of us, whether it's the median we have to like tie down and knock down, right? Like, what is going to be the thing, whether it's painting, beading, right, sewing, whatever it is. And I told him, like, that's like the fun part, right? And it sucks because some people finally get that bravery to start creating stuff at like 40 years old, 50 years old, and they think, it's like, bro, who cares? Like, create like you're 5 years old. Like, that's the whole point. That's the thing that keeps us feeling young, right? And like you said, like dunking on each other between takes, bro. Like we're like 13-year-old kids in the locker room, bro. Like just talking, just talking trash. Like podcasts, like I start every podcast with a green room, get to talk a little shit, warm up and have fun during it. I think that's so hard, and we were even kind of talking like with podcasting specifically, like the creation part is my thing. The doing, the being in front of the microphone, talking with someone, I that part I do. It's the editing the video and making sure it's, this and that, and, the thumbnail, the freaking thumbnail, dude. Like, no way, I'm not doing all that, bro. I'm just gonna post it and people will listen. If they don't, they don't. But it's like that imposter syndrome, right? It's like, I'm pretending anyways, so who cares? I'm gonna just put this out, bro.
Yeah.
Oh man. So dude, I even like, I tried hard not to laugh because it was like when you were saying you get like lead goon. I just imagined like the closed captions on the Netflix movie, goon screaming, like, or like goon running. Like, I thought that was funny, man. And what was your first like gig? Like, what was that like? You went to the auditions, obviously got booked. How long ago was that?
I think my first one was like 2005, 2006, nice. somewhere in there. Yeah. And I lived in LA for 2 years and did I did one movie that I don't think was ever released, but it had Clarence Williams III, who was Samson Simpson from Half Baked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I got to meet him. He was hella cool. And I couldn't help but fanboy. I was just like, they're like, yeah, hey, this is Clarence. You're gonna shake his hand and whatever. And I was like, okay. I loved you in Half Baked. He was like, oh, thank you. He was hella cool. And so that was cool. And but I don't think that movie ever came out because I looked for it and never saw it. And and I just did kind of like little indie stuff. I did a music video for some band. I've done a couple of those. Just whatever I can get into. I did a commercial for the Northwest Area Indian Health Board, and it was for like a HIV prevention drug. I did that recently. And,
oh shit!
I mean, just different stuff I can do. And it's really a matter of just like, I just want to keep doing it just for reps. Like, I just want to just be on screen, be comfortable. And somebody might just go, who was that? that guy
Yeah.
had something. That guy looked different, and who knows? You never know.
Man, and you know, I do so much stuff, dude. Like I also do competitive dancing, man. Like I'm a battle dancer,
Hmm.
and I don't think people really understand too, like other dancers or even actors, right? Like the the one big lesson I always took from the powwow and to really anything that I ever did was someone's always watching you. Act right when you're in regalia. Act right when you're at the powwow grounds, bro. Like
Right.
act right when you're away from it, but act right when you're there, bro. And so I've gotten booked gigs and stuff just because I was there. I was on
Right.
time.
Yep.
I cracked a good couple jokes. I did a good couple takes while everybody
Right.
else just kind of had an off day. And next thing I get something, and I don't think enough people realize, like you said, those reps. Just
Yeah.
keep getting the reps, bro. Even if the last one sucked, man, and it really hurt your confidence. I get it. Just keep going, man. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Um,
I
dude, even
actually I actually have one on Thursday, and I'm not playing a thug for once.
ah,
I don't know the name of the project yet, but I'm playing a caregiver for somebody with Alzheimer's. So I'm going to
okay.
be wearing scrubs. I'm not going to be thugging it up. Like I'll actually be just, I don't know, but yeah, that's on Thursday. And it is kind of that thing where uh, somehow I'm on a list in Portland that says this guy will show up on time. He'll be dressed appropriately. He will return to, and so I will get emails, and if it seems like something I can do, I'll go, yeah, I'll give it a shot. And if it's something I can't, then I'll go, I can't do this one, but thanks for considering me. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Thursday I have another one coming up for a movie that's shooting here in Portland. So,
That's good to hear you say too, because I was even going to ask, man, like, are you more picky with it, right? Or do you kind of take as it comes? But even hearing you say, like, there's some of those ones that you just can't do. Like, what would be one of those emails like what would be a position or some kind of gig where you're like, I just can't do that.
well, I mean, if the money's not right for one, or if
Mm-hmm.
because some of especially when it's like a background gig, Portland is not considered it's not a major market, so they don't pay a good rate, especially for background work. So if it means I'm gonna lose money because I have to take a day off of work, it's not really worth it. And so in cases like that, sometimes I just go, thanks, but no thanks. But if it seems like something, like there was one that they shot a pilot here called Staties. That one I did because I was a tribal police officer, which is interesting. I'm not I don't, love police a whole lot, but, I I was like, well, I mean, if this pilot gets picked up, this is something I could potentially do, and so I
Mm-hmm.
was like, all right, I will take the time off and go shoot this pilot with these people, and if it's something that works out, then I might have something here, but it didn't get
Mm-hmm.
picked up. But uh, yeah, so I'm at a point where I'm not really looking for this to be my gig. I have a pretty good gig already as a I have got a full-time job, and I'm not relying on this to eat. So I can
Mm-hmm.
afford to be selective.
Nice. What do you do for work, matter of fact?
I work for this company that builds like ceramic housings for basically the coiled sort of ceramic housings you see up on like telephone poles that hold the wires out from the pole.
Okay, yeah.
So we build those. We build the like chemical slurry that is basically the slurry that gets put on microchips, something like that. But I do a lot. I do packaging, receiving, drive a forklift,
Oh
load
yeah, man.
trucks, unload trucks. Yeah. So on my feet a lot, on a forklift a lot, using a tape gun. It's
Yeah.
pretty good job. They
Blue
pay pretty
collar
well.
men, man.
Yeah, it's all I've ever done, and it suits me well.
I have had the most. I mean, I've worked in a group home. I did the restaurant business. I mean, if the restaurant business paid the money that I needed, I would do that the rest of my life until I drop dead. Um, but I've been working in solar, bro, for a few years. And, so if podcasting doesn't work out, whatever, I get paid well, bro. It's a good career. I'm going to be an electrician one day, all this stuff, whatever. I just can't not do it though. So that's why I'm
Mhm.
like, even you were saying earlier, like, dude, I got a job and this and that. And it's like, that's when like creating gets to be fun, really fun. I feel is like when you have your steady income, whether it's off of the things you create or not. Like if you have steady income, you're not worried about that. And you're still like carving out that time to make some music or make a little dance piece, whatever. It's so much more fun. It's because you're not worried about nothing else except
Right,
the thing, and
right.
I like to keep the main thing. You okay, and one thing I wanted to make sure to ask too is so you started acting, right, and was down in LA. We're talking, first one's out in '05. What introduced the move up to Oregon? What got you to go back up north?
Okay, well, this is where there's a lot of twists and turns, and
Mm-hmm.
it may be this. The story's not going to be fun for parts of it.
Okay.
So, um, so yeah, I was doing okay in LA, but my own partying was getting in the way, and so I had family in Idaho. I had a sister there, and it was suggested to me, you need to come dry out a little bit and
Mm-hmm.
step away from the things you're doing. And I agreed. And it was supposed to be kind of a temporary move, just come, just chill out for a little bit. LA will be there. And so I did, and went up to Idaho. Wasn't very excited about it. I'd only been there once. It kind of gave me the vapors, and I wasn't really a fan of it. But I was willing to give it a shot. And within probably 2 or 3 weeks, I met one of my sister's friends who I was told to stay away from,
Mm.
and I did not. And we ended up having a kid together, and we were not a couple. This was strictly a one night stand, and she kind of said, "You do you, whatever you want to do. I don't care. I don't need you." And I mean, and that implies there was hostility. There was none. She was like, "I'm fine. If you want to be involved, you don't have to. You don't want to." And I wanted to. I mean, just I didn't live with my dad. I knew what that was like. I just didn't want to do that to him.
Mm-hmm.
His name was Tristan, but I called him Bams. He was born with charge syndrome, which is a genetic disorder, very rare. It affects the heart, the ears, the eyes. He had a very hard life. 13 surgeries. It's really, really hard. But he was so could light up a room. Like he was deaf and really poor vision and different things like that. So he had a really hard life. But I stuck it out in Idaho, and worked, went to school, and did all those things. And uh, uh, give me a second. But I mean, at 7, it was time for him to go.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, when it was time for him to go to meet the creator, um, it was time for me to go. Like Idaho it's too small, and there was going to be just too much there for me to stay. And I think I if I would have stayed, based on my own history with mainly alcohol, but other substances too, but mostly alcohol, I think if I would have stayed in Idaho, I don't think I would have made it. So,
oh my god.
so
Thank you, brother.
about a month after he passed away, I moved to Oregon, and that same sister that was in Idaho had moved to Oregon, and she said, we got a guest house. If you need to come, like we'll take you. And so I had a 97 Jetta, which is about this big. And I packed up whatever I could. It was November, and I drove over this hill in between Idaho and Oregon. They call it Blue Mountain or something. It was close to blizzard conditions, 4 ball tires. One of them wasn't even the right size. I mean, I was white knuckling it, just freaking out, but made it. And yeah, I got over here, and I was still a wreck. I was a wreck for quite a while, like drinking really, really heavily. Like we're talking like a bottle of whiskey a night. And I mean, I thought my life was over, really. And was not like suicidal, but there was definitely mornings where I was like, really? Like, really? That wasn't enough. Last night was not enough. Come on. Like, just because everything got taken from me. Like, it just didn't feel fair. So, but anyways, so my old roommate in LA went to school in Idaho, and he, gave me a call. He said, it's my birthday. I'm doing this big road trip. I'm coming up to Portland. I want to see you. And I know you're having a hard time. I was like, yeah, dude, come on up. So he comes up and he says, oh, this girl I went to high school with lives in Portland. I'm going to hit her up. We should see her. And I said, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. And that girl is who I'm with now.
Wow.
8 years later. Yeah. And she is a huge, huge part in where I'm at now, because she really helped me, find myself again. Because to me, the spark was gone. And, she just, I don't know, made me believe in myself again. And mostly in my family, and sorry if I'm just going on and on, but
no, please, brother, thank you for this. Oh my God.
I think the family and friends of addicts are in such a tough position, because they have to sit there and watch their people destroy themselves. And they know if they push too hard, the person's going to go away. And if they step too far back, the person is going to go away. So my family, they love me and they care about me, but their hands are kind of tied, so they did what they thought was best by sort of letting me wallow in my grief, but they weren't really saying anything. They weren't really saying like, what you're doing is not helping. You're not getting better. And like, we get it. You're sad. Like, But Laura was like, you know, yes, you're sad, but this doesn't have to be who you are now.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, do you think do you think your son likes to see you grieve like this? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it wasn't automatic. It wasn't overnight. It took me a little while to snap out of it, but so I mean, she helped me get there, and now I haven't drank in 7 years, and now we're on our second house, and we've had a kid, and she she has a son named Makani whose birthday was or is a month from my kid's birthday, my first kid's birthday. So it's wild. It's wild, heavy stuff. Her birthday is a day apart from my son's birthday. And just,
do you mind me asking what was your first son's name?
his name was Tristan, but it's called him Bams.
Bams.
Yeah.
Oh, Bams. Tristan. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. It takes, they always say like, it was funny when I first heard it, right? It was, there's behind every strong man is an even stronger woman. And behind every completely destroyed man is an even more dominant woman, like, because they find us sometimes in the worst ways, in our worst ways, and can really, shout out all the good women, shout out your wife, man, who can really nurture, because bro, that is hard. I know that's heavy, man. And so crazy, your roommate, bro, introduced you guys, bro.
Right.
And she
It's totally
got you back on track, man.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, bro. That's beautiful. And so then now you guys also have your own little family going, man, and that's I mean, all the blessings to you guys, man. Like, it's like seriously, bro, because listen to that story. It's just like so ripping at my heart, because I just could not imagine. I think we all go. The saying I've always heard was, the worst thing you've ever been through is the worst thing you've ever been through, right? And that's, so I can relate to people where it's like, damn, bro, that sucks, because I know in my own moments where it was like, you're right. It's not like a suicidal thought, but damn, when I woke up in the morning, I was like, man, for real, bro, like, again, like, I gotta do this one more time, like, please, not again, like, not again, not please. But then you hit those points, or you find the people in the most randomest places that help get you through it, and it's not an overnight process, and it is a they say grief isn't a linear curve type thing, or a linear line. It's like, you go ups and downs. You got your ups and downs and ups and downs. So looking back now, right, and even thinking about, as you've came to this moment here, right, like, what would you say would be one of your bigger life lessons, or something you would want to make sure that you could tell your younger self back in 2005?
I think in 2000, I would have liked to have told myself, for one, I think I would say, bro, you ain't all that. You're not as smart as you think you are. Like, you got, because in 2005, I was 25. I'm about to be 45. So, yeah, like, I mean, 25 right now at 44 just seems like a toddler. It just seems so young, and I think I probably would have said, bro, you got so much to learn, dude. And all the, you don't know anything. But I think I would like to say, that here's what I'm liking about getting older. And if I go into the weeds a little bit, but I think it's relative to the 25-year-old me, is that every single decade I find I'm shedding so much of the bullshit that I thought I needed. Like, and it maybe is going back to that imposter syndrome from when I was a kid, but I'm just like at 25 pretending to be what I thought people wanted to see or what I thought I wanted to be, or and just realizing how much of that was fake or a persona or just putting on airs, and you know, and realizing 20 years later that none of those people are in my life anymore. Who was I trying to impress? You know, I shouldn't say that. Two of those people are still in my life: the roommate and the friend I made down there. They're still my two best friends to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two people that matter in that equation. But the rest of them, fuck them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, and also at 25, I didn't know what was about to come, meaning what was going to happen with my son and all that, because he wasn't around. But I wouldn't have I wouldn't have said don't go to Idaho, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have said that. I would have said go to Idaho. Um, yeah, I just I don't know. You learn as you grow, and you learn who's real and who's not, and you learn more about yourself. I think you do get wiser.
God, you learn as you grow. People think you learn, and then you grow. It is happening at the exact same time, people. I swear it on my life. Oh man, yeah. Like, you know, and I'm going to be 32 here in 2 weeks, and I hang out with guys who are in their 40s, right, or even in their 50s, and they call me the kid. Hey, go get the kid. It's like, what do you mean, bro? Like, I passed that already, because now, you know, working in construction and, you know, I'm a lead of a crew and this and that. And it's like, I get these cats who are 21, you know, never picked up a hammer in their life, but they swear they got the answers. You know,
Right.
they know, no, they know. Like, it's like, nah, bro, no. It's like, dude, you don't know anything. Like, and I couldn't imagine myself telling myself anything I mean, 25 is still even a stretch. I had my son at 25 thinking, you know, I'm not letting my son stay up late. I'm not letting him jump on a bed. And here he is doing backflips on the bed and staying up late with his dad, you know, like
Right.
you think you got the answers, but you learn as you grow, dude. Like you're gonna take the lumps and roll with it.
Well, and I think you find out too that I don't think we need to overthink all of these decisions that we're making every single day. I think that's what I'm also learning too. And I mean, I don't know. That's where I'm at now too at 45. Like, I don't think we need to overthink, you know, and I think also with raising kids, yeah, so he stayed up till 9:30. So what?
So
So
I
he's gonna be a little grouchy tomorrow. Okay, who cares? You know? I mean,
mm-hmm.
it's not it's too life is way too short. And you know, I would much rather be happy, you know?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like I was very, and I am still very, like, I don't want to say strict because I let him do a lot of stuff, but I'm still very, you know, stern with my son. But I even know that, sure, I let him stay up a little late, but that fort we built, you know, is going to be core memories. Sure, I
Right.
got to deal with an attitude in the morning, whatever, dude. But that fort, man, and that little popcorn and
Right.
stuff, we, you know, those moments type
Yeah.
stuff, like, or even kind of like think about for myself, it's like, hey, like you're saying, like, oh, I could try this opportunity and this and that. It's something I really want to do, you know, but then you get a little, you know, fearful or whatever. But I just say, dude, just whatever. If I fail, okay. If I succeed, great. Like, what's the worst that could happen in between? Sure, I miss a couple hours of sleep, or whatever, I gotta drive to Burbank, bro. Like it's a fucking 45-minute drive, whatever. Like, what's the worst that's gonna happen in between? You know, I'm gonna go dance or I'm gonna go podcast. Like I'm gonna do the thing I wanna do, and we'll worry about it later. Like, you know,
Right.
like if I need
Yeah.
to get an extra cup of coffee in the morning, dude, okay, whatever. It's $2. I'm stopping at
Yeah.
the gas station anyways.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, bro. Like, and I definitely, well, I wanna make sure I say a few things, but I definitely want to ask, man, like, what is it gonna take, bro? Like, I really, because I listened to a couple episodes, right? Like, and I would even like skip forward and or like go all the way to the end, or like get to the end and then rewind all of it back and just like listen to all these different chunks and parts, bro. And you have like, I feel like some people don't even have like the podcaster sound. Like you sound so good on a microphone. Like listening to it sounds good. The audio production was good. The conversations for me was great. What's gonna get us to do, like, what do we have to do to get you to do another episode, bro? Or what has to happen to make you really jump in it?
That's a really good question. And it's not the first time I've been asked. Uh, you know, and I even actually did I don't know, I won't call it a pilot necessarily, but me and my friend Noah did kind of a dry run for one that we were going to call the Dad Bod Pod, just
Yeah.
about being dads, you know,
Mhm.
because I think dads talking to each other about being dads is really underrated. And every time I get a chance to do it, I like chomp at the bit. Like, um, and we both had a really good time, like just doing that. And then just sort of like everything, it just kind of, I won't say everything, but you know, things got in the way, and we things did not get in the way. We allowed things getting in the way to be the reason we did not continue forward. That's what it is.
Yes.
Because
Yes, I
there's
love that.
because saying there's no time, that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true. There's time.
There's just that time you don't want to give up. You know, there's
Yes.
the, oh well, I always have a 2 hour workout and I always do 2 hours of this. It's like, well, bro.
Hmm.
If you take just 30 minutes and 30 minutes, you have an hour. That's a podcast, bro. Like
Right.
everyone does the, you know, I don't want to say everyone, but I feel like majority of podcasts that I do listen to besides Joe Rogan, you know, is like solid hour, 45 minutes, you know, around that gamut anyways. So that's all the time you need. Like, you know, I really do, because I do want to say, um, I could not imagine, right, I couldn't imagine the weight that you feel, right, and that you carry so strongly. And I never want to be mistaken when I see strong people who carry certain stories on them, that it's like, oh, they're just strong. It's like, yeah, dog, but it's still heavy. Like if you put that on my back, like that's fucking heavy, bro. Like, but he's wearing it well. So I want to make sure that, like, bro, you hearing your story is, it was just so profound. And I think that Dad podcast might be, you know, I think that might be Bam talking to you, bro. Like, you know, I think he might be talking to you on that one. And that's maybe might be the itch, because, bro, you have such a story. Even everything from, you know, the half-life, being Native American, being a dad, you know, and everything in between, bro. You have such a, it's there. Like I could hear it, bro. Like even when you were talking, bro, like it was like, oh my God, this dude could go on for 5-6 hours if you just let him. Just press the button and just let him start going. And I think a dad podcast is needed, right?
Hmm.
And I think you would be a perfect person to spearhead something like that, bro. Because you see all this, you know, mom pods, right?
Hmm.
Shout out my moms. No, no,
Yes.
I'm not fucking hating.
Mm-hmm.
Not hating, but I am a little greedy and a little selfish. And so why can't we do that? And so getting
Right.
two, two dudes getting together, being dudes, talking about being dads, I think that's an awesome idea, bro. Truly. And when the time is right and when the creator makes the way, I know you guys are going to be super successful at it, man. I truly know that. I listen, and I didn't want to keep you on too much longer, bro. I want to say thank you again. Um, is there any words of wisdom that you want to drop for the people before you bounce, and any social medias or links that you want to make sure to plug? This would be that moment.
Any words of wisdom? Oh man, I don't know, man. Hug your babies, dude. Yeah, that's it. I mean, the kids are gonna be a pain in the ass. Like we know that going in, but that's not their fault. That's kids being kids. Like being a dad for me was and is like the most natural thing I've ever done. Like I love basketball. I love I played every sport there was. None of those came natural to me. I had to bust my ass to be mediocre at them, right? Acting is weird to me. It's, all of it. Like I love hip hop music, and that's been one of my first loves. Like Michael Jackson and then Run DMC in that order, and then the Chili Peppers. So writing rhymes like I have to work at, but like the dad thing was instantaneous. And yes, the kids are going to annoy you, and there's going to be times where you're like, can you just go somewhere else, please? Find another room, find something else to do. But like you were saying earlier, the fort is going to be what they remember. My son Che, today had his first basketball game, and I was his coach. So
Nice.
I got to be Coach G, and he made his first basket. He's not had any interest in basketball at all, even though I've taken him to my games. We went to Trailblazer games, and he's not had any interest. He likes pro wrestling, which I like, but he loves that. But basketball, he's just been like, he made that first basket. I mean, straight sprint to me, arms, it was fucking amazing, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And like, just create those moments for your kids, dude. Like, even if it's hard, we're all tired. Like, we're all backed up on sleep. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I like that. I like that fort analogy. He's gonna remember the fort. I think that's rad. Like, he's gonna remember the fort. That's cool. But yeah, hug the babies, create the moments, dude. Like, if you yell at them, you can correct that. You can correct that. Look, I got mad. I'm sorry. I was frustrated. Whatever. I don't know. But yeah, dude. The kids are the gifts, I believe. And if we do what we're supposed to do, they can change the world. And I don't really need to plug anything. I don't know. Maybe when the time's right, I will. But I guess if people want to check out some old episodes, they can look up Native as I Can Be and check them out. There's probably some stuff worth checking out on there, I guess. But it's everywhere.
I'll definitely make sure to leave the link for that in the bio for anybody who wants to become more familiar with Geno Ray or just hearing Native talk, right? And some of the stuff that we even babble about. Please check it out. There's good stories, good information, and some stuff that'll open y'all's eyes. Yeah, Geno, dude, thank you 1,000 times. I'm literally going to sit down, bro, and just think about the stories, your story in particular, Because bro, like, you know, we connected over threads so random, like, you know,
Right.
and you know, we were even talking about like getting guests, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to cast this out there. And bro, I would have never expected such a good conversation in just the stories, bro. Like, so thank you so much for doing the show with us, man.
Totally. My pleasure.
All right, brother.
Absolutely.
I'm going to hit you up after this. All right.
All right.
Thank you, bro. You guys, Geno Ray, that was fun. You guys all know I love my kids, man. To come onto a podcast with someone that you don't quite know and open up takes a certain level of bravery that I don't think a lot of you will ever understand. And to be authentic with yourself and the people around you is the greatest form of love that you can ever express. So I feel that right now. And I have been posting more on social media and doing more, and I am encouraging more people to just be you. Like, it's the most beautiful thing. And sometimes being you also means that you go through some tough shit. And when you can share that with others, we also carry that load with you. And I have such a fortunate position to be able to carry just that little piece of that load. Yeah. Jesus. Everybody, the smoking section, this is going to be going up here soon. Hope you guys have a good day, week, month, year, and life. Until next time, I'm going to see all you wild animals.